All right, what is up, everybody? We are back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today, we're going to be talking about Media Day yesterday, some of the most interesting things from Media Day yesterday. Almost all 30 teams had their days. Boston and Denver already had theirs a couple days ago. And it just is the first thing that kind of re-energizes you for the NBA season. It just reminds you that we're inching closer and closer to it. And we're going to talk about some of the most interesting things that happened yesterday here in today's video. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. I really appreciate it. If you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. Really upset a lot. Join the membership if you want to learn more about the membership. There's a video on my channel explaining all of it. You can go back and watch that. Link to my Twitter, all that stuff down in the description below. And yeah, don't waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So we're just going to be going around the league, going to different places, seeing what's been happening around. First, we'll start with the Houston Rockets. That was one of the first things I saw. And with the Houston Rockets, a lot of them basically everybody had the same goal in mind, which is really nice to see on Media Day. It was playoffs. So many people, everybody that had a quote was talking about the playoffs. Rafael Stone, the GM, saying we won't specifically talk about win totals for this year, but the playoffs. Fred VanVleet saying it's got to be a playoffs for us, not making it, but advancing. Jalen Green saying the main goal, the playoff right now. Alperen Sengun had a quote saying playoffs. Ime Udoka had a quote talking about the playoffs. So everybody in Houston right now is on the same page of we're making it to the playoffs this year. That is the goal, which makes sense. Last year, they were 41-41. We did a lot better than people expected. We're so close to making the play-in. And, I mean, it's, like, not wrong to expect playoffs. With this young team they had, they found their coach. They have some really good players. Their young players are now a year better. So you expect the playoffs. And it's just really nice to see a whole team, especially a young team like this that hasn't been really this good in a little while, all kind of have the same goal and same focus in mind of we know what we want to do this year, so we're gonna go out and try to do it. Very excited for that. Also, Alperen Sengun some reports that he wants an extension, and there's reports that there's it won't be crazy if he does get an extension before the season starts, which would be a really good thing for him for the Houston Rockets, because I do believe he could be the main focus of the Houston Rockets for the future. But yeah, it's really nice to see that from the Rockets media day. Next, we go to the San Antonio Spurs media day. Most of it was just seeing Chris Paul, Victor Wembanyama bring Chris Paul now and his new team with the San Antonio Spurs. Him and Greg Popovich going back and forth, talking about stuff, saying like, yeah, we didn't like each other for a long time. That was funny. Seeing Chris Paul with San Antonio was very interesting. But the biggest thing was Victor Wembanyama's weight. Last year, he's listed at 210 pounds, and right now, in their training camp roster, he's listed at 235. So he's gained 25 pounds of muscle. Very important, obviously, very big, especially playing that big position. A lot of times last year, he was kind of not limited because he had a really good rookie year, but at the times when he was limited, it was more because of his size and his weight. He just looked kind of like he was thrown off course sometimes, but now with this new weight, I mean, that's huge. That's huge, and it's only going to continue to go up probably from this point on. But it was very nice to see that. Very cool to see that, and very cool to see just Chris Paul, Wemby in there, and the San Antonio Spurs. I'm very interested to see how they look this season. Next, we go to the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, they had a really big offseason, bringing in Paul George, a lot of expectations, a lot of stuff surrounding the Philadelphia 76ers. And there's a couple of interesting things I saw from there. One, Joel Embiid. We just talked about Wemby gaining weight while Joel Embiid is losing weight. Joel Embiid said that he's lost around 25 to 30 pounds and hopes to do more, and saying he's focused on doing whatever it takes to be healthy for the playoffs, isn't worried about individual accolades like All-Star, All-NBA, anything like that anymore. He understands now it's being healthy for the playoffs, having a good playoff run, which is great. I mean, we know Joel Embiid's injury history and all that stuff, so him losing weight maybe could help a lot in terms of the weight on his legs and his knees and all that stuff, relieving eating a little bit of pressure, and focus on being healthy for the playoffs. Even Daryl Morey had a quote saying like, "We care more about April, May, and June." More than the regular season, which could be hinting at maybe some resting Joel Embiid, maybe some low bandaging at some points throughout the season. I wouldn't be surprised at that, especially now they're bringing in Paul George, where the main goal kind of bringing in Paul George was to help kind of alleviate some of the pressure off Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and have a third guy in there in case Joel does get hurt. So this is good for Joel Embiid. I like the approach. He kind of understands the talk around him right now is about the playoffs. And it's like, all right, he's good, but can he win you a championship? Can he be the number one? Can he bring you far in the playoffs? And he hasn't had a healthy playoff run yet in his career. So seeing that would be nice. And then Paul George, obviously now being in Philly, a lot of look at him. Paul George has some quotes saying, "I think this is the first time I played with an elite point guard and a big man all at once," which is true. I mean, people were saying Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams, but Russell Westbrook is an elite point guard. Steven Adams was a really good center. Was nowhere near what Joel Embiid is, you know. And so for him to play like that is really good. And he also had another interesting quote. He said, for us, it's kind of just countering off each other. Nothing's forced for one person to kind of take that load alone. We got to share the responsibility. I see us flowing. All of us can kind of play our game within the game. He also had talked about a lot of the expectations and the pressure and the championship pressure. They asked me, and he said, yeah, definitely there's pressure. There's a lot of pressure, championship pressure. So everybody kind of in that team knows that the goal is to win the championship. Obviously, with Joel saying I got to be healthy for the playoffs, Paul George saying yeah, there's pressure, Tyrese Maxey, Daryl Morey, everybody knows that championship expectations are there, and now it's just about them going out and seeing it. But it was very interesting to see, the 76ers media day. Now going for teams that have high pressure on themselves to teams that are doing the exact opposite. The Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors, every quote I saw was kind of crazy from the Raptors. Apparently, according to everybody on the team, they're all in on the rebuild. They're all in on going young, rebuilding, and development. Masai Ujiri has some interesting quotes. He said, I think we set a path that we went to the draft last year and got a couple of young players, and we want to continue to grow and build this team around Scotty. Yes, in sports, you always want to be competitive and you play to win. We're going to play to win, but it's a rebuilding team. I think everyone sees that loud and clear. He said, when the teams go through rebuild, you go out and set the tone of how you play and how you want the culture of your team to be set. You hope for the best, but we all know that reality is in the league. The draft is a way for us to build teams and to acquire players, especially in a market like our market. We'll continue to try and compete every night, and we see where progress will be and some of the things that we work on, some of the things our team is going to need as we build to the future. Basically saying we are focused on the young players. We're focused on the draft, focused on the young players, focused on developing them rather than winning games. Even Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl had a quote. He said, I think we all know we're not going to go and attack the championship this year. It makes no sense for us to try to win every single game as much as we can and sacrifice development. So basically, the Raptors are coming in saying, don't expect us to do anything. We're coming in, we're focused on our young players and focused on developing them rather than anything else. Which this is like the first time I can remember in past years media day that a team came out right away on media day saying, "Yeah, we're gonna suck this year." Like even the Pistons last year, at least they came out. We're like, we're trying to win. At least the Brooklyn Nets this year are coming out saying, "Yeah, I think people are sleeping on us. We got a good team." Like the Raptors are the first team I remember in media day coming out and saying right away, "Hey, winning we'll try, but don't expect that right now. Expect us to be bad. Expect us to develop our young players," which is interesting because honestly, I think the Raptors aren't as bad as that. Like I honestly think if things go right in their way, they can be a playing team. Like Scotty Barnes, if he continues to can grow off his All Star year, IQ and RJ are both in line to have good years. They have guys like Jakob Poeltl. Like they have a decent team. So I don't think they're gonna be like a 19-20 win team, but apparently with the way they're talking about media day, they're expecting to be like that. So I guess hey, whatever they want to do. Staying in the Eastern Conference, going to the Milwaukee Bucks. They had a lot of things happen on media day. One thing was about Chris Middleton. There was a report that came out a few days ago before media day saying that he has surgery on both ankles during this offseason. And they don't really know what the timetable is for that. And then once he came in, the first question was asked about his health, and he said that he's ready for training camp and the season, basically is what he said. But then Doc Rivers, they asked him about Chris Middleton, and he said he'll participate in camp. We won't have him doing a lot of live action coming off the surgery and all that, but all of our skeleton work, our transition D, our conditioning work, he'll be on the floor with us. He looks great. He's in the gym right now as we speak, working out. He's had a terrific summer overall. Physically, he's fit, and that's something he probably hasn't been able to say in a while. It feels great, so we want to keep it that way. So I guess the injury isn't really bad. Middleton says he'll be ready for training camp. Doc Rivers said he'll be playing in training camp. He won't be doing live action 5-on-5, so I guess don't expect him to start the season, is what I'm expecting from that quote. Don't expect him to be there day one, ready to start, but eventually he'll be there at some point, I guess, even though he says, I'll be ready for the season. I don't really know what's going on there. But I guess we just have to wait and see. Middleton, unfortunately, has just suffered so many injuries since their championship run. It's been really tough. And we saw last year in the playoffs a glimpse of, the old Middleton is still there. It's just really about getting him healthy. And then also, talking about Dame and Giannis. Giannis said in one of his interviews saying that he and Dame didn't work out together this offseason. They said they talked on the phone but haven't worked on court stuff, which I don't know if should be something you should be really worried about. But okay. It's funny because when I did a video a couple days ago talking about one thing every team should be excited for, and with the Bucks I said that you have a full offseason together. Now that Dame is kind of ready, he's realized, okay, he's in Milwaukee now. Last year he didn't get there till like right before media day. Doc Rivers has a full offseason, and this team has a full offseason to work together. Apparently that didn't happen. Apparently because Chris Middleton had surgery, Giannis and Dame haven't worked together. So my confidence in the Bucks, I'm be honest, isn't as high as I was expecting coming into the season, but I still do believe in them. I don't think this is gonna really hurt a whole lot. It's just very interesting. It's just very interesting. But again, they're gonna have training camp now, preseason, and all that to really come together and figure it out. Going to a new look team this year, the Clippers. The Clippers had a very, very interesting media day. Saw a lot of things come from the Clippers. The main thing about Kawhi Leonard, obviously he didn't play for Team USA this year, got pulled out. And then a couple days ago, I think almost a week ago, there's a report came out saying that he had a procedure on his knee. And then Lawrence Frank, the GM of the Clippers, saying he said, quote, his right knee, the swelling has significantly gone down. It's almost gone. He told reporters he wants to participate in everything in training camp, but we're going to hold him back from drill work and really focus on strengthening because the goal is to get him 100% so he can have a great season. Not just this year, but for many years. We'll have a detailed plan, step by step, have objective measures to go from one phase to the next, but he's super determined, super excited, can't wait to get started. Basically saying, wait and see. Not really giving a timetable, not really giving everything, just kind of saying, yeah, he had a procedure on his knee, his swelling's gone down, and, we're going to work out and see what happens. And then Kawhi on media day, he said, we're taking it day by day. Everything's been going great for the past month, but they're being very cautious. In the past, I haven't been able to finish playoff runs, so making sure I stay healthy for those important moments. He also talked about the swelling and stuff, saying that the inflammation in his knee is something he's probably going to have to deal with for the rest of his career and things like that, and just trying to get ready. And then they asked him opening day if he'd be ready. He said that's the plan. So I don't really know, that knee inflammation for the rest of his career. I mean, I'm not really surprised by that. The knee injuries has just been such a big thing over the past couple years. And yeah, apparently he thinks he's healthy and he thinks he's going to be ready for media day. But I guess the team wants to be as cautious as they can with him, which I understand from that regard. So we'll see what happens. And then a lot of the other things was about Paul George. Obviously they lost Paul George, which was the huge thing this season. Changed a lot with this team. A couple people had some quotes about it. James Harden said it's definitely going to involve a lot of me. There's talk when I was in Houston, you can't win like that. You just saw a guy, Luca, last season make the finals playing the exact same way I played. So hinting at more of, James Harden getting involved in the offense, especially depending on Kawhi's health. So James Harden trying to take on that challenge. We'll see how that works. Norman Powell says, I saw it as addition by subtraction, more guys getting opportunities, including myself. So I guess they're already moved on from PG and they're saying, all right, next man up. And then Kawhi had a quote saying, I don't feel like it's going to be hard for me personally, for anybody I'm on the court with. I don't look at him to be my savior. So I don't think that's shots or anything like that, but basically saying, I mean, yeah, he's good, but it's like, as long as I'm still here, we're good. So a lot of stuff coming from the Clippers media today. They have a new look team, no Paul George, Kawhi's health in question, new arena, everything. So they're gonna definitely be a team, I guess, to watch and see how things go. But they had one of the more interesting media days. Now we go to the Brooklyn Nets and specifically Ben Simmons. There's been talk a lot by the past month. Kind of a lot of people giving him the cosign that he's back, he's healthy. All Star Ben might be back. Trainers coming out saying that Ben is back. People in the Nets organization. So a lot of hype up with Ben Simmons, but not a lot of people taking it as for real because we've seen this before. But this has been a lot more than the past couple years. And then Ben Simmons talked at media day yesterday. He said, I think people forget me as a player when I'm healthy. I can play basketball. I'm pretty good. Which, I mean, yeah, you were pretty good. But also, people are forgetting about you because you haven't done it in 3 years. So you're going to have to go out and do it. Definitely something you got to wait and see to believe. People, the last couple years, there's been a lot of talk about Ben Simmons about like this. And then he come up and it didn't happen. Didn't show anything. And now with this Nets team where basically there's nothing to stop him right now, this should be the year where if there's any year that Ben Simmons wants to return to All-Star Ben Simmons, this should be the year. There's no one holding him back. There's no star. There's nothing on this team holding him back right now. So the Nets should be empowering Ben Simmons, and Ben Simmons should see this opportunity and be like, this is the time for me to show that I can do that again. So if there's any year, it should be this year. We'll see what happens. I'm not putting my faith in it, but I'm also not saying it can't happen. It's just, gotta wait and see. Gotta wait and see to believe. The Nets should be pretty bad though. So there's not really much to really worry about or think about with this Nets media day other than Ben Simmons. Next, one of the things and one of the teams people really want to see in media day was Miami Heat. specifically Jimmy Butler, because we know the last couple of years he's shown up with a lot in media day, with a lot of craziness, a lot of, you know, it, just a lot, But this year he showed up late, but no craziness. Regular Jimmy Butler, no interesting hairstyle, no anything like that. Strictly locked in, and he even has some quotes and everything that made it seem like Jimmy Butler's locked in right now. Jimmy Butler, he said, "I got to prove that I'm a major part of winning, and rightfully so. Done it before. This is no different. This is going to be a great year for myself. It's going to be a great year for the group of guys that we have. I'll take care of itself when the time comes." That was when he was asked about not receiving a new contract. And it seems also like the comments that Pat Riley made a couple months ago maybe really not put Jimmy Butler kind of in this position where Pat Riley talked about a couple months ago, kind of basically giving a sign to Jimmy saying like, hey, bro, you got to show up and you got to play with us. You got to play. You got to show that you're that guy still. And it looks like Jimmy Butler maybe took those comments to heart, took not having a new contract and all that stuff to heart because he looks like he's strictly locked in, strictly business. And if it's going to be that type of year for Jimmy Butler, then I cannot wait to see it because we know when Jimmy Butler is locked in, he's one of the best players in the league. He's shown that in the playoffs. He hasn't shown it in the regular season in a little while. And now maybe this getting a glimpse of saying, hey, okay, you want regular season, Jimmy? You want me to be locked in the regular season? You want me to show that I'm still that star player? Okay, let's do it. And if that's what's going to happen, then that's going to not only help him, but that's going to be helping the Miami Heat a whole lot. And I'm here for it. Can't wait to see it. Now we go to the Chicago Bulls, their team that has been talked about a little bit with a couple of things going on. One big thing was Lonzo Ball. Obviously, we know Lonzo hasn't played in a very, very long time. And according to Jonas Karnisovas, the GM of the Bulls, he says the plan is Lonzo will be ready for opening night. Lonzo also said we should be ready, have a brand new knee. But seeing Lonzo is going to be back this year, very, very exciting thing for the Bulls, obviously. When last time we saw him, he was playing at the best of his game, and unfortunately, the knee injuries have really hurt him, but now he should be back. And then Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine opened up, saying right when his media day, his interview started, before questions even asked, he said there was a lot of thoughts and rumors, opinions about me, about the organization. I think we've talked one time. This is my first time talking to you. So everything else you could take with a grain of salt with false narratives or whatever there may be. I think going forward, the best way to handle a lot of this stuff is I'm in a great situation, great headspace. I'm fully healthy right now, which I don't take for granted. Anything negative that they're trying to pin me in the organization, the rumors, drama, whatever it is, I'll leave that in the past. So basically coming out saying right away, hey, I'm committed to this team, committed to this organization. I'm healthy, and I'm doing whatever it takes to win, which is huge. I mean, obviously, Zach LaVine's been talked about so much recently for not good reasons, for his injuries, potential trade, people kind of not really valuing and kind of forgetting how good Zach LaVine really is. So for him to come out right away and say, put all that to bed and saying, hey, this is the team I'm here for, I'm healthy, and we're doing this year. It's really important, and I really love that from Zach. And yeah, this should be a interesting Bulls year just because of the youth. That's really what I'll be watching for. It's just the youth, guys like Kobe White, Montez Buzelis, Josh Giddey, guys like them. But if we get to see a healthy Zach LaVine out there, he gets to prove why. Gets to show everybody, remind everybody how good he is. Then I'll take that too. And the final team and thing we're going to talk about is the Lakers. The Lakers always are, have a microscope on them all the time. But seeing Bronny with LeBron there, seeing them share media day for the first time is just awesome. There's so many great moments, just crazy. Awesome to see that, really heartwarming stuff. And then LeBron talking about, with JJ Redick here. JJ Redick saying he wants LeBron to play, shoot more threes, play off ball, do a lot of stuff like that. And LeBron had a quote saying, "I can literally do whatever on the basketball floor, so it's not hard to plug me into whatever that game, whatever that moment needs to entail. So it's me playing off the ball, and JJ wanted me to shoot more threes, or if it's me playing on the ball and getting guys the ball, I can literally do anything on the basketball court." He also talked about Team USA, saying he realized he has a lot more left in the tank. So yeah, just seeing LeBron year 22. Very excited to see what that looks like. Very excited to see what the Lakers look like now with JJ Redick in there. D'Lo also had a lot of things to say, about Laker Nation loves me and a lot of other stuff from D'Lo. But yeah, just seeing what the Lakers can do this year. They're bringing back basically the same team from last year. Just bringing in a new coach in JJ Redick, and everybody's gonna be excited to see what JJ Redick does and what this Laker team looks like. But really, the main thing was just awesome to see Bron and Bronny out there sharing media day together. And yeah, it's gonna be it. That was Media Day 2024. If there's anything else that I missed or any other great moments from Media Day, let me know down low in the comment section. Once again, if you do like the content around here, consider subscribing, like, channel notifications, do all stuff like that. I'd really appreciate it. It really helps out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.